Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming back to my channel. It has been pouring rain for 4 or 5 days in a row now, but I thought that today was the best day to sit down and finally film my second trimester recap. I am officially in week 28, so I'm 2 days into week 28 and feeling really lucky and blessed. As you all know or may know, the first trimester for myself was not an easy go. There were a lot of ups and downs and really scary moments that I didn't necessarily think would allow me to get to the third trimester. That included bleeding and some scary news along the way. And I'm just feeling really happy and really proud of my body and how far I've come. And I'm just really feeling really happy and blessed. There are things that have come up in my journey that I didn't necessarily plan for or anticipate in the second trimester, especially because we always hear about, oh, the second trimester is so much easier than the first. It's like a breeze, it's nice, you're feeling like you're nesting finally. For me specifically, living with endometriosis and being pregnant in the second trimester, the pain continues. So sometimes you hear in popular culture that endometriosis is cured or alleviated by becoming pregnant. Now, this is a dangerous statement to start making because one, everyone's body is different and everybody's body reacts differently to endometriosis in pregnancy. But two, some people experience infertility as a symptom of endometriosis. So a claim of saying, just get pregnant and endometriosis will go away, that's not always an easy statement for someone that has been on an IVF journey or a conception journey to hear, because it may be very difficult to get to that stage. A lot of the pain that I experienced in the second trimester wasn't similar to the first in some instances. So if you haven't seen my first trimester video, I highly suggest you watch it. I'll pin it here. But basically, the first trimester, I experienced a lot of sharp, excruciating abdominal cramping. The second trimester, I experienced more stretching pains. So when I talked to my OBGYN, they had acknowledged that if you have endometriosis, lesions, adhesions, or tissue, oftentimes they become stretched when the uterus expands because the baby's making a home. And with that stretching, it can cause a lot of pain and irritation because those tissues and lesions are now stretching as well. So with that stretching, I felt it felt to me like the start of an endometriosis flare-up would typically feel like. It felt low abdominal cramping, a bit of sharp stabbing pain. Sometimes when I was lying on my sides at night, I would feel a sharp pain in the sense that I thought, should I call my OBGYN in this moment? The pain wouldn't last very long. It would be about 5 or 6 seconds, if that, but I would be scared to move after feeling that experience. So the pain continued for me, definitely. I also experienced brain fog. So the symptoms of endometriosis continued in the second trimester for me. I was also chronically tired. So pregnancy takes a lot out of you. And I felt like, yes, in the first trimester, I was extremely tired, but the second trimester, I still felt tired. I still felt like I needed to take naps and rest, as you should. Take care of your body. But the pain I wanted to outline for me in the second trimester that I didn't necessarily know would continue would be that endometriosis style pain. That still continued for me. Now, I know some people experience round ligament pain in the second trimester of their pregnancy, typically, even if they don't have endometriosis. They feel a sharp pain, they might feel stretching pains, they might feel a lower abdominal cramp. So for myself, it's hard to differentiate round ligament pain and endometriosis style pain for me specifically. I kind of associate it with, oh, it's my endometriosis acting up, but it could be my round ligament pain on top of my endo lesions and tissue stretching. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different pains that come generally with pregnancy, but when it comes with endometriosis on top, it can be really tricky to differentiate the two. So based on my experience, it does still feel like an endometriosis flare-up is starting. The second thing that I wish I knew during my second trimester was bleeding gums. So I would be brushing my teeth or flossing and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I am bleeding a lot during this activity. Like, why are my gums bleeding? And I looked it up, and apparently 50 to 70% of pregnant individuals experience bleeding gums because of hormone fluctuations. It's often referred to as pregnancy gingivitis. You can get it checked out by your dentist, and they highly recommend you do. But it was something that I didn't necessarily anticipate seeing or hearing about. It was a pregnancy symptom that I had never heard about before. So if you're in your second trimester and you experience bleeding gums, you're not alone, but something to keep an eye on and just to monitor. If you experience tooth pain as well with it, just get it checked out by your dentist. But it was definitely something that I didn't anticipate seeing in the second trimester. So living with endometriosis while being pregnant, the second trimester comes with a little bit of a boost of energy, but I've always lived with chronic fatigue. I've always experienced tiredness and sluggishness with my endometriosis and brain fog, which can be very exhausting on top of normal endometriosis flare-ups. So in the second trimester, pregnancy fatigue had hit, but I still live with chronic fatigue. So my suggestion to you, or my recommendation, is to monitor how you're feeling, to always check in with your body, which I think we're really good at because we know our body's best, especially with endometriosis, and to rest when you need to rest. Now, I know sometimes when you're pregnant, you want to get things sorted or get things organized or feel like you're still moving and being active, but I found that I provided myself a little bit more grace this second trimester. I felt like, no, I don't need to do that today, or no, I can rest, or I'm gonna lie down and I'm not gonna feel guilty for it, because yes, you want your baby to feel healthy and happy and not push yourself to do anything that could be potentially harmful, but you also wanna look after your body that's living with a chronic illness, right? Like, you still have that chronic illness. It doesn't go away with pregnancy, unfortunately. It's a constant battle that we have to balance. And that was something that I wish I knew, potentially my first trimester too. Like, I wish I knew I didn't have to push as hard or prove anything to myself that, oh, I'm an active, pregnant, chronic illness person, that I can do everything that they want to do. Some days are really hard and some days are really tiring, and it's okay to rest and to provide yourself grace in those moments, because you are growing eyeballs and like lungs and a heart and a brain, and it's a crazy amount of things happening with your body that not a lot of people take the time to think about. Like, you're doing so much and your body is doing so much, so it's okay to rest when you need to rest. But the chronic fatigue, unfortunately for me, didn't go away in the second trimester, and it's something that I wish I knew. The next thing that was an interesting thing to note in my second trimester was that in your journey with a chronic illness, you are used to advocating for your own health and your own body and your own well-being. And in the journey of living with a chronic illness, you can feel dismissed a lot. You can feel like medical practitioners and doctors aren't hearing you. You feel like you're second to other diseases or other chronic illnesses, because endometriosis is not very well researched or known or funded. And you just feel behind the 8 ball. And living with endometriosis pain for 12 years without a name, I carry a lot of, not animosity is the word, but I just felt a little bit left behind in the medical system. And now becoming pregnant, a lot of your checkups within the second trimester are focused on the baby, obviously, as they should be. Like, I'm not saying that's not something that should be happening. And obviously you want the best for your baby and you want your baby to be healthy. The thing that I wish I knew with endometriosis in the mix is that it's kind of pushed aside. Like, endometriosis pain and symptoms and experiences while pregnant are not often associated with pains and symptoms, and you're not monitored as much as you would be with your endo specialist. You can be, for sure, but I found that my files just kind of stopped and my medical checkups kind of stopped for me. And so yes, your baby should be number one, of course, but you feel like your body and your health as the vessel for the baby is not as important. And that was something that it's not hard to take, because I feel like I'm used to it by now. Like, you're used to, okay, like, I'm gonna have to wait to get answers on this, or I'm gonna have to wait to get support on that. But it's really tricky, and it's really hard sometimes to, know that you can't take your normal medication to help your chronic fatigue or your pain that you're experiencing. And you do have to live with those stretching pains with endometriosis. And oftentimes a response that I received was, but the baby's healthy, so it's okay. You can manage the pain and the baby's healthy, then that's okay. We'll check up later. And it's like, but am I okay though? Like, is this a normal pain to be feeling? Is this a normal stretching pain? Is this round ligament pain? Should I be doing anything for myself to help my body heal after this experience? And I just found a little bit lost in the system. So with endometriosis in the mix with second trimester pregnancy, your medical journey is halted again, which might feel a little bit like a traumatic experience for some, because you've done so much work to advocate to get to the point where you are in your journey, and a lot of it stops. So again, my laparoscopic surgery for endometriosis was put on hold because I was able to become pregnant, and I am so thankful for that. But it's something that I'm looking forward to in the future of, you know, I'm building up my nerves again, and I'm building up my mental capacity to say, okay, am I ready for another major surgery after a potential C-section or a major delivery? Am I ready to take on the neck nodules that I have and investigate that on top of, you know, taking care of a little baby? It's a lot to take on. So just be prepared that your medical journey might be on hold while pregnant, and that can be really hard to take. So what I recommend is just checking in with yourself and being kind to yourself, journaling a lot so that you don't miss any symptoms or pains that come up that are new and continue after pregnancy. If you have an endo specialist, I would talk to them on a regular basis just to check in, and check in with your OB and your doctor to say, listen, am I okay? I know my baby's okay, but am I okay as the person housing this little cute being? The next thing I found during second trimester is that cravings obviously shift. You're craving different things. Some experience like, oh, I want pickles and ice cream, or I want whatever it may be. I was all about the lemonade and lemons. I had never really been a lemonade fan, like to an extent I was like, I need to pick up 7 jugs of lemonade at the grocery store. I was never like that. But my cravings had shifted, and the thing with endometriosis in the mix is that, again, you might have a nutrition plan that you've been following to help manage your hormones or manage your pain, but sometimes that craving shifts and you're like, I'm really craving that, you know, whatever it may be. And I'm just outlining that you can provide yourself grace and compassion in those moments, because again, you are growing a human being. I provided myself grace and just said, listen, this is what I'm craving right now. I'm going through a lot. I understand that my nutrition may not be the same as when I'm not pregnant, and that's something that I've come to terms with. But if you're able to manage your nutrition throughout your pregnancy, or find swaps, like healthy swaps for things that you're craving that can help your endometriosis, if you're still experiencing pain and flare-ups during your pregnancy, then I highly recommend you continue to do that, but always talk to a nutritionist or doctor before trying new things or getting off of your nutrition completely. So just something to note, that your cravings will definitely change, and it might be off of your normal nutritional path with endometriosis. So give yourself grace and compassion. The next thing that was in the second trimester while living with endometriosis is that the relationship with your body has ebbs and flows. And of course, living with a chronic illness while pregnant is an interesting journey. Living with a chronic illness in general is an interesting journey, but I've always struggled with the relationship that I had with my body. It's not like I felt pregnant and was like, I love my body. That is not the case for me specifically. And if it was for you, that is amazing. And I'm so happy that you like are walking that journey. Becoming pregnant, I was so thankful for my body and the things that I was able to do. So it was like a flow in that relationship instead of an ebb. I was like, oh, my body's amazing and it can do all this crazy stuff. And like, look, it's growing this cute little being. But then you have days too where you're like, I'm still feeling pain. I'm still feeling that endometriosis flare-up style pain and stretching pain. I'm still tired a lot of the times, or, you know, my body isn't able to do certain things, and it changes in front of you. And I think living with endometriosis, you try and avoid the endo belly or the endo bloat that comes with endometriosis. And when you see your body expand because you're pregnant, which is a normal thing to happen, it can play a trick on your mind for me in the sense it looked like endo belly. And I was always saying, you know, I have to avoid endo belly. I have to avoid the bloat. I have to avoid the things that are triggering the way my body is looking right now, because that look of my body I associated with extreme pain, because endo bloating was affiliated with endometriosis flare-ups. So when you see your body grow a baby and you feel like you're looking like you're bloated but you're pregnant, it's a weird relationship with your body in a sense, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm coming across like that's making sense, but basically the relationship with your body during the second trimester for me, living with endometriosis, it's not like that relationship was solved or that relationship was healed. I'm still on that journey, and it's something that may come up with your journey, just to be aware of. It's okay to have bad days with it, and it's okay to just reflect on how you're feeling and taking those emotions as they come and realizing whatever they may be, that another good day will come around the corner. The next thing that I realized in the second trimester with endometriosis is that being off of your normal medication can also be difficult on your body. So it kind of goes with pain management and the pain that I experienced in the second trimester. In those moments, I wish I had my medication that I was normally on to kind of ease that stretching pain or that discomfort. So give yourself grace and compassion for not being on those medications, and talk to your doctor if there's anything safe that you can be taking while pregnant, again, in consultation with your doctor, so that you can still feel like yourself. You can still feel like you can do the things that you want to do throughout the day while pregnant, but knowing that you're still kind of managing that chronic illness pain that's underlying within the pregnancy journey. So obviously the second trimester had a lot of different things that I didn't anticipate or know were around the corner. I think my main message to you is that if you're entering your second trimester and you live with endometriosis, it's okay to provide grace and compassion for yourself. You are walking a journey that is unique, and it is outside of the normal pregnancy journey that you hear about. Your journey can look different from others. That goes with your chronic illness journey and your pregnancy journey. For me, I had a much better time in the second trimester pain-wise than I did in the first, and I'm hoping for smooth sailing in the third trimester, but just understand that your journey may look a little bit different, and that's okay, and that's beautiful. And whatever you're doing to make sure that that little baby gets to term while looking after your own body is an amazing thing, and I'm just so proud of you for every step that you're taking.